Rumulwa. According to the ruling by the Speaker, this morning, members of the Senate will have their time that will be directed by the Speaker of the Senate to cross-examine the witnesses, and we expect the prosecution side to equally prosecute their matter to conclusion today. Remember, they have a balance of about 45 minutes, and they still have a number of witnesses that are set to appear before the Senate. They include Mercy Wanjau, who also serves as the Secretary to the Cabinet, Nairobi Governor Johnson Sakaja, Mr. Peterson Njomo Mushira, and another witness that is set to take a stand at the Senate this morning is an official from the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission. Remember, the defense team had objected to the introduction of the official from EACC, terming that as a new evidence that was being introduced midway. But the Speaker of the Senate ruled that that was not the case, as the evidence was just coming to support the evidence already presented. So for the better part of today, we'll be having the Deputy President and his council convince senators as to why they should be throwing out the charges leveled against the Deputy President, Rigathi Gachagua. That is before the Senate votes on each and every charge leveled against the Deputy President. And in the event any of the charges upheld, then the Deputy President will stand to be impeached by the Senate. And our dear viewers, allow me to hand over for this live broadcast as the Speaker of the Senate, Honorable Amason Kingi, has already stepped into the chamber this morning. My name is Gladys Mungai. Have yourself a great morning and enjoy your viewing.
Tuombe. Ewe Mwenyezi Mungu, twakusihi ututazame kwa neema nyingi na baraka sisi watumishi wako ambao umeridhika kutuita kwa nyadhifa za uongozi katika jamhuri hii yetu. Twakuomba utuajalie tuyatende na kufikia mambo yote atakayofikishwa mbele yetu kwa njia ya haki na uaminifu, ili kustawisha amani, ufanisi na heri ya nchi yetu na wale ambao haja zao umezikabidhi mikononi mwetu. Amen.
Good morning to you and welcome to the live proceedings of the Senate this morning. Today being the 17th day of October, the year being 2024, we have entered the second and probably the final day for the hearing and determination on the proposed removal from office by impeachment of His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua, E.G.H, the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya. So, our dear viewers, the Senate will today, being the second day for when this motion has been allocated time, consider the charges leveled against the Deputy President. There are 11 charges. These are the charges leveled by the mover of the motion at the National Assembly, Honorable Kibwezi West lawmaker, Honorable Mwengi Mutuse, and having heard from the team representing the National Assembly for the better part of yesterday, today the Defense Council for the Deputy President, led by their lead counsel, Paul Muite, will be having their time to counter the accusation leveled against the Deputy President. But last evening, or last night, before the Senate adjourned its sitting to sit again today morning, we had heard from a number of witnesses from the prosecution side. We heard from the evidence in chief, who also happens to be the mover of the motion, as well as former KEMSA CEO, Dr. Andrew Mulwa. According to the ruling by the Speaker, this morning, members of the Senate will have their time that will be directed by the Speaker of the Senate to cross-examine the witnesses, and we expect the prosecution side to equally prosecute their matter to conclusion today. Remember, they have a balance of about 45 minutes, and they still have a number of witnesses that are set to appear before the Senate. They include Mercy Wanjau, who also serves as the Secretary to the Cabinet, Nairobi Governor Johnson Sakaja, Mr. Peterson Njomo Mushira, and another witness that is set to take a stand at the Senate this morning is an official from the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission. Remember, the defense team had objected to the introduction of the official from EACC, terming that as a new evidence that was being introduced midway. But the Speaker of the Senate ruled that that was not the case, as the evidence was just coming to support the evidence already presented. So for the better part of today, we'll be having the Deputy President and his council convince senators as to why they should be throwing out the charges leveled against the Deputy President, Rigathi Gachagua. That is before the Senate votes on each and every charge leveled against the Deputy President. And in the event any of the charges upheld, then the Deputy President will stand to be impeached by the Senate. And our dear viewers, allow me to hand over for this live broadcast as the Speaker of the Senate, Honorable Amason Kingi, has already stepped into the chamber this morning. My name is Gladys Mungai. Have yourself a great morning and enjoy your viewing.
Tuombe. Ewe Mwenyezi Mungu, twakusihi tutazame kwa neema nyingi na baraka sisi watumishi wako ambao umeridhika kutuita kwa nyadhifa za uongozi katika jamhuri hii yetu. Twakuomba utuajalie tuyatende na kufikia mambo yote atakayofikishwa mbele yetu kwa njia ya haki na uaminifu, ili kustawisha amani, ufanisi na heri ya nchi yetu na wale ambao haja zao umezikabidhi mikononi mwetu. Amen. Clerk, do we have quorum? Sergeant at Arms, kindly ring the quorum bell for 10 minutes.
The quorum bell is currently on a ring mode at the Senate this morning, following the directives by the Speaker, Honorable Amason Jeffrey Kingi, that the Sergeant at Arms during the quorum bell for 10 minutes to give some sort of leeway for senators to make their way into the chamber this morning, to necessitate the quoration of the House to about 15 senators, according to the standing orders of the House, for the House to commence business this morning, which is the hearing and determination of the proposed removal from office by impeachment of His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua, the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya. Away from that, allow me to take you through some of the evidence and documents that have been tabled before the Senate for consideration. The National Assembly has forwarded the following documents to support their case. The documents include the impeachment motion and witness affidavits, the exhibits of the impeachment motion, the public participation report, the House proceedings, the Deputy President's response in regards to the motion to kick him out of office, and an affidavit by Peterson Njomo Mushira, among others, as the support for their case against the Deputy President. The Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya is currently facing 11 charges listed in the motion for his impeachment, that by the end of today, the House will vote on each and every charge. And in regards to the laws of impeachment that guides the Senate, in the event that the senators vote to uphold either of the 11 charges, the Deputy President would stand impeached. But that will not be the end, or that might not be the end, as he might opt to continue fighting for his political lifeline through the courts. The other probable outcome is that the Senate, upon hearing the defense and the prosecution side, and after having voted, the other way would be to probably, in the event they don't find the charges, the 11 charges, to have been substantiated. And upon taking of the vote, neither of the charge is voted to have been substantiated, then the motion falls and the Deputy President continues to hold office. Well, the team representing the Deputy President, Honorable Rigathi Gachagua, who until last evening said their witness was only going to be the Deputy President in response to the charges leveled against the Deputy President. The team is being led by Senior Counsel Paul Moite, being the lead counsel for the defense team. They equally have Elisha Odhiambo, an advocate of the High Court, Mr. Tom Mashira, Advocate Ndegwa Njiru, Advocate John Jomo, Advocate Faith Waigwa, Advocate George Wandati, among others. They are totaling to about 14 advocates who are at the Senate to defend the Deputy President, who is the only witness in his case for impeachment. The defense has equally forwarded documents to the Senate in regards to how they intend to counter the accusations facing the second in command. The accusation among them are the documents that the defense is supposed to be relying on for the better part of today to defend the deputy president are the response to the particulars of the allegations in the motion by Honorable Mwengi Mutuse. This is a response to the charges leveled against the deputy president in the impeachment motion. They equally have presented witness affidavits of Honorable Rigathi Gachagua, E.G.H, and further witnesses in further affidavits under Volume 4 of the documents by the Deputy President. The defense equally has video and electronic evidence that will be played for the better part of today as they seek to convince senators why they should be throwing out the case against the Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua. The Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya.
Kindly take your seats. Clerk, you may now call the first order.
Order number 1, communication from the chair.
Now, during yesterday's session, there's a volume that had been made available by the Council for the National Assembly. And I remember Senior Counsel Mwite, you sought for time to look at it and confirm indeed that the photocopy did not introduce new material. Can we therefore now admit that document, Senior Counsel?
We looked at it, Mheshimiwa Speaker, and we have no objection. Now it can be introduced. Thank you.
Very well. May the same be admitted and be made available to all honorable senators. Next order.
Order number 2, hearing and determination on the proposed removal from office by impeachment of His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua, E.G.H, Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya.
Now, honorable senators, ladies and gentlemen, at the rise of the House last night, the National Assembly had called 2 witnesses. They had done the evidence in chief, cross-examined, re-examined, and it was then the opportunity for the honorable senators to seek for clarifications when the House adjourned. Now, the National Assembly has a balance of 20 minutes to conclude its case. The Deputy President has 45 minutes. Having taken 1 hour from the 3 hours that had been indicated to the Deputy President for today. Let us stick to the time so that we can be able to conclude this matter in good time today. Now, honorable senators, ladies and gentlemen, we will start with the clarifications sought from the first witness of the National Assembly, Honorable Mutuse. Thereafter, we will move to the second witness and conclude, and then we can now allow the National Assembly to call their third witness. Is Honorable Mutuse present? Good.
Present, Mr. Speaker.
You'll be noting the questions and the clarifications sought from the honorable senators. The Honorable Senator for Nandi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Just clarification But since we had started yesterday with the word of the Lord, I want to leave to my brother Ekomas Mute Mutuse through you. In Proverbs 12, verses 22, the Lord detests lying lips, but he delights in those who is telling the truth. So, Mheshimiwa Mutuse Ekomas, I leave you with that. My quick clarification, Chair, with your indulgence. One, by the time you are giving us that the wealth of the Deputy President was 5.2 billion Kenyan shillings that you allege has been acquired for the last 2 years, did you access the wealth declaration from EACC? Number one. Number two, under the NCIC Act and in Mudama's case that the courts ruled, is shareholding part of the definition of the word incitement? Number three, in the matter of Kilifi Malindi Road, do you have any evidence to prove whether it is a private or a public road? And if it is either private or public, can you table the evidence or before the House? Number four, clarification on the issue of Justice Esther Maina. Are you telling us that since the Deputy President is the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, does he not have a right as a citizen of Kenya not to bring any complaint against any officer, including judicial officers? Finally, on the update, on 1st October 10, 2024, Cabinet Secretary Mutua.
Senator Kenywa.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. My question goes to Honorable Mutuse. Honorable Mutuse, was Treetop Hotel, was it available for acquisition? And if that is so, was there any law of procurement that was breached? Second one, what is the age of these DP's sons? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Fatuma Dulo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My question first goes to the council on the side of the Deputy President. My question is on attack on the national security. And knowing that national intelligence, Mr. Speaker, is a critical organ of a government. And the attack by the Deputy President is a very serious one. And I've seen the video being played that what the current president said when he was the Deputy President is equal. And I heard also Deputy President saying, I have learned from my boss. Does that answer the question of gross misconduct on the part of attack on the security? Number two, the issue of disinheriting the widow. We've been told a lot of stories here, but I really want to know, because we are Africans, matters of widows are very critical. Have you thought of looking for the family of the late Gachagua, just to clarify so many questions that are lingering around that particular family? I thank you.
Senator Beatrice Akinyi. If you're in the first round, honorable senators, allow others also to get an opportunity to seek clarifications.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. My clarification is to the DP's team. On a video that was played yesterday at a relocation point in Nairobi County, I wanted clarification from the DP's team on whether their client is aware that county governments are distinct governments, and if so, Honorable Speaker, did the DP consult with the county government of Nairobi over the challenges of relocation at Kayole? And two, Honorable Speaker, there was a video that was played, either one or two, involving a speech at either rally by His Excellency the President of the Republic of Kenya. My question is, what was the essence of that video? And is it to show that two wrongs would make one right? Thank you.
Senator Lelegwe.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My clarification is to the witness of the National Assembly. Yesterday, during the cross-examination, the advocate of the Deputy President, you asserted that you have identified several companies which you have no issues, and to which you do not attribute any misconduct in their dealings. Given this context, could you inform the necessity for including these companies in the present impeachment motion? Thank you.
Senator Eddy.
Mr. Speaker, thank you. I have one question for the witness in chief, and one clarity question from the counsel for the Deputy President, and particularly Counsel Tom Macharia. So I'll start with the Honorable Mutuse. Honorable Mutuse, may you help this House understand whether all the companies that you indicated are for the sons and the spouse of the Deputy President, and whether you established how old they are and estimated the net worth of those companies. Did you manage to estimate the net worth of those companies, and how did you do that? To the senior counsel, the counsel Tom Macharia, in the exploration of ground number 4, you led this House to look at the particulars of the coalition document, the coalition agreement. May you help us understand how we should interpret Article 91 of the Constitution and Article 232 of the Constitution with regards to your response on government being a company equal to having shares and not the country. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Sek.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. The question also goes to Honorable Mutuse. Wanted to make a clarification on the issue of Peterson Jomo, the affidavit on the Olive Garden Hotel, on the appointment of Julian Jahenda as the secretary or agent, and the letter to the Public Service Commission through the clerk of the National Assembly by volume 8A, page 1, gives a different person by the name Makar Juliana Jahenda. Why do we have different names here? You need to clarify, because it has a different person altogether. Two different people altogether. Second clarification is on the issue of the award of the tender on the proposed refurbishment of the DP's residence in Karen. Honorable Mutuse, the government, through the State House Controller, signed that contract, wanted to know what is the relationship of this contract with the DP now that you're saying it has some issues, what's all about the contract and the company that did that refurbishment? We need to know what is the relationship and what is the malpractice that has.
Senator Amida Kibwana.
Mr. Speaker, sorry, my question was for Dr. Mulwa.
Senator Wakili Sige.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I've got two questions. One to the Council for the Deputy President, and the other one, actually both for clarification by the Council for the Deputy President. Yesterday, in the course of your cross-examination, you took us to page 410 of Volume 3. This is with regard to the accusation where His Excellency the Deputy President divulged or accused the national intelligence of what you said. Now, my clarification from you, which I desire, is at that page 410, the evidence which you sought to juxtapose what the President did and what the Deputy President was accused of having done is with regards to one being in office and another one alleging that he's not been able to attend sessions where that complaint came from. Give us the correlation of the two. And secondly, I share the sentiments by all the senators who've sought to get from you an understanding about the coalition agreements. You attempted to explain yesterday the relationship between company shares and coalition agreement shares. You were asked about the place of this in terms of the regimes of the two kinds of agreements. What do you say as regards shares in a company registered under the Companies Act vis-a-vis post-election coalition agreements registered under the Political Parties Act and the governance of?
Senator Batuli Betty Montet.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Mr. Speaker, sir, I want to ask Honorable Mutuse, is there a minimum age of a client in a bank to get a loan of 700 million?
Senator Essie Okenyuri.
Sorry, Mr. Speaker, my question, I'm awaiting Dr. Andrew Mulwa.
Senator Cheriot Aaron.
Mike, two quick questions to you, Mutuse. Is there any crime that a Kenyan will have committed if they have 20, 30, or even 40 companies? Because I see you have listed 22 companies here. Is there any crime by just owning these companies you feel that the person you accuse has committed? Second, on this issue of Vipingo Beach, surely, Honorable Mutuse, what is the crime of the sons of the Deputy President being listed as directors? Because I have tried combing through your motion to establish what you consider to be either an illegality or a crime on their part by simply being listed as directors. Lastly, Mr. Speaker, is to the Council for the DP, Wakili Masharia. The clips of the then DP Ruto played by your team, could we read it to mean that it's an admission on your part that you're saying, if it was done then by a sitting Deputy President, please allow the current one to commit the same at this point? And lastly, the 30% allocation to Ford Kenya in the coalition agreement in ANC, how has it been realized?
Senator Margaret Kamar.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me the opportunity. I have one small question for Honorable Mluse, and that is on the witness, somebody who, by the name Peterson Jomo Mushira, who wrote an affidavit that touches on Olive Garden Hotel. He offered himself to appear and be cross-examined on the content of his affidavit. Was he invited?
Senator Kathuri Murungi.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Mine are just very strict clarifications. Number one goes to Honorable Mutuse. Honorable Mutuse, in ground 7, you have seen that His Excellency, the Deputy President, has inexplicably amassed a humongous, these are very strong ones, property portfolio estimated at 5.2 billion. So my question is, this is within 2 years. I know for a fact that before an election, any eligible candidate clears himself or herself with the IBC before contesting. Therefore, for comparative analysis, do you have His Excellency the Deputy President's property or worth during the 2022, before the 2022 elections, so that now we can be able, as a jury, can be able to compare
necessarily bind the proceedings, because what has been presented is the subject of what the honorable senators are going to investigate. At the end of it, it is not a judgment that they will be giving, it will be a vote. I rest my case, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Senior Counsel Paul Mwite.
Mheshimiwa Speaker, first and foremost, the affidavits that my colleague, my learned friend, referred to were sworn by the executors of the will of the late brother to the Deputy President. They were filed in the National Assembly, in the proceedings in the National Assemblies. They were never filed here as affidavits of witnesses. We proposed to call. With regard to the affidavit of Governor Sakaja Johnston, it was specifically filed in the Senate, an affidavit of a witness that they intended to call. That affidavit has material injurious to the Deputy President. Mheshimiwa Speaker, we were looking forward to cross-examining Governor Sakaja so as to bring out the truth to assist this Honorable Senate to make a decision. If he is not being called, and in fairness to the Deputy Governor, all that we are asking is that affidavit be expunged together with the affidavit of Peterson Jomo, who they are not calling now, and also the affidavit of Mercy Wajau, who is not being called. It is not fair to file affidavits containing information allegations injurious to the other party, then ask that those affidavits to remain as part of the record without calling them and availing them for cross-examination. So my application is that the 3 affidavits be struck out. Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, sir, just for clarity, there's absolutely no new material that was presented after the material that was sent to this House from the National Assembly. For instance, the affidavit by His Excellency Johnson Sakaja is to be found at volume 1 of the documents that have been filed.
Maybe Counsel for the National Assembly, let me get it clear.
Yes,
the affidavit by the Nairobi governor, was it filed after the proceedings of the National Assembly, or it forms part and parcel of the proceedings that came from the National Assembly?
It forms part and parcel of the proceedings that came from the National Assembly. In particular, Mr. Speaker, sir, all those affidavits form what constituted part of what came into through public participation.
So just hold on that so that we make progress. Senior Counsel, you have indicated that the affidavit by the Honorable Governor for Nairobi did not form part of the documents that emanated from the National Assembly. Now, the position as held by the Council of the National Assembly is to the contrary. These are things we can settle now. Did it come with a bundle of documents from the National Assembly, or it was filed after the Senate was seized of those documents?
Mheshimiwa Speaker, I have been corrected by my colleagues. The affidavits where the affidavit by Governor Johnson Sakaja was actually part of the public participation. So it was part of the record of the National
So now,
yes,
let's
yes.
move to the two.
Yes.
Let's move to the two. Now, have a seat, Senior Counsel.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Yeah, respond to the two more affidavits, because the contention from the Council of the Deputy President is that they were filed after the record was received from the National Assembly by the Senate.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I reiterate the position that we earlier on gave, that there's not any single document other than the document that was admitted yesterday pursuant to our application that came in after the record had been presented before this House.
So the affidavits were not filed after the Senate received the bundle of documents from the National Assembly?
Absolutely not.
Can you lead us to the volume and the page containing these affidavits from the National Assembly?
Mr. Speaker, sir, just give me 1 minute to consult with my colleagues here. I identify it, then I bring it. It's not an issue that we had anticipated.
Yeah, so that we settle this matter.
Most of that.
Yeah, let's settle it.
It is not, Mheshimiwa Speaker, it's only the affidavit of Peterson Jomo that was filed in the Senate. It did not form any part
Very well,
of the
Senior
National
Counsel.
Assembly.
So then let's settle that one and we make progress. We need not argue on this matter.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I think what happened is that we skipped the opportunity to identify the documents from both sides of what had been filed. The documents that we filed yesterday has a volume 8. That is the document that contains the affidavit of Peterson Jomo.
So it is that affidavit, if you go to the Senior Counsel, it is that affidavit that they're looking forward to cross-examining the deponent. Now that you've closed your case, the argument from the Council of the Deputy President is, how then are we going to test the truth of those averments? What say you on that?
Mr. Speaker, sir, I did give an indication that, number one, at the commencement of these proceedings, any party who wanted to cross-examine any of the deponents of any of the documents had an opportunity, upon your invitation, to invite such parties to appear before them. If our counterparts appearing for His Excellency the Deputy President did not find it appropriate to call that witness at that point in time, they cannot now hold us to say that you had said you'd call this person, you will not call them. Because the person we were to call was for purposes of clarifying what we thought was important for us. Now, this being an inquisitorial proceeding, a quasi-judicial proceeding, Mr. Speaker, sir, I think it would be a stretch to expect that if we didn't call or if we didn't avail any of the witnesses that were mentioned in any of the affidavits, then as of necessity that follows that record or that affidavit needs to be expunged. That's what I was saying. Pursuant to your ruling yesterday, that is evidence and material that was presented yesterday. It forms part of your record.
Now, before I give my way forward, Senator for Nairobi City.
Honorable Speaker, the counsel that are appearing in this case are people that I hold in extremely high regard. Senior Counsel Paul Muite appears to not have the confidence of the judges sitting here that we know how to treat evidence contained in an affidavit that is not tested at cross-examination. Even the judges you appear before in the courts that you practice in know what to do with evidence of a person who is not availing themselves for cross-examination. So, Honorable Speaker, I really don't understand what the contention is. because we sitting here as judges know how to treat that evidence. And I wanted to take this opportunity to calm the anxiety of Senior Counsel Paul Mwite, that indeed we do know what to do with such evidence.
Now, so that we make progress, Senior Counsel has raised an important matter, which matter has been responded to by the Counsel for the National Assembly. Now, honorable senators, there is an affidavit sworn by one Jomo Mushira, who had been listed to appear as a witness for and on behalf of the National Assembly. The National Assembly has closed its case without calling that particular witness, and yet there's an affidavit that the counsel for the Deputy President will not have an opportunity to cross-examine. The question, as you retire at the end of this hearing, is to look at the probative value of that particular document. Senior Counsel Paul Mwite, your point is valid. The senators have noted.
Because this is an important, very important institution, quasi judicial function, court of record, permit me to put on record that there is a slight distinction between counsel and the client. I have absolute full faith in honorable senators, including my friend, the senator for Nairobi, but I am carrying out instructions of my client.
Yeah, so I've given direction on this particular matter. Let us move forward. Having said that, Senior Counsel Paul Mwite, if you're ready, you may now usher in your witness.
Mheshimiwa Speaker, we are anxiously waiting for the Deputy President. My colleagues can stand here, can stand in. For me, let me make inquiries and find out where he's held up. We certainly wish to call him as a witness.
Very well. Yes, what is the point of procedure, Senator Boni?
Unprecedented, to the extent that when we stand down business in this House, it normally arises from a communication from the chair that you're temporarily, for a specific time, suspending the proceedings. You have not done this, and we are seated in the chamber. The mess is in place. I do not know whether we want this to be the new standard, Mr. Speaker. Could you guide us? We have no idea how long we're going to wait. And time is running, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Senators, at the rise of the House at 1:15, I made it clear that upon resumption, the Deputy President was going to take the stand. We came in here, I communicated the program for the afternoon, and I said we're going to execute it with military precision, owing to the fact that we need to conclude business today. Senior Counsel Paul Mwite indicated that he cannot get hold of his client. That is not the concern of this House. So time is running. Order. Order, honorable senators. Order. The floor is available to the Deputy President and no other senator or no other element.
Well, the Speaker of the Senate, Honorable Amason Kingi, currently presiding over the business of the Senate this afternoon, has just directed that the floor at this particular juncture is not available to any other senator owing to the...
Enoch, I used very basic English. I know you. You have such a wonderful grasp of the language. You need not to get any clarification.
It is exactly 15:04 p.m. this afternoon, being the 17th day of October 2024. The afternoon sitting of the Senate this afternoon was to kick off with the Deputy President taking the stand, bearing in mind the DP, His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua, is the sole witness in the case where the National Assembly, through the move of the motion, Honorable Mwengi Mutuse has leveled 11 grounds for impeachment of the Deputy President from office. We have already dispensed with the prosecution side, and during this afternoon sitting, immediately after the commencement of business, the council representing the National Assembly have confirmed to the House that they do not intend to call more witness in regards to this case. The counsel for the Deputy President had requested the House through the Speaker that any evidence where the witnesses are not appearing be expunged from the record. It is a moment of waiting at the Senate this afternoon.